Guys, Gaming Show here back in the video, and today's video is what if can Elle win Total Drama Island? I made a similar video of what if Elle was in Total Drama, so this video will be analyzing if he actually could win the season. I already made two parts on Light Yagami, and I'm making one on Nira Mello. I will also make a part 2 if he was on Killer Bass. So let's begin. Now, episode 2, Elle would actually jump here. I feel like Elle would actually not jump, unlike Light, since he would be making an excuse to be afraid. It doesn't change the outcome of Killer Bass losing, and ultimately Ezekiel gets sent home. Now, in episode 3, will remain the same as Elle will win the challenge. He will call out Heather for stealing Eva's MP free player, and ultimately will not change the elimination of Eva getting sent home. Now, the Killer Bass do actually respect Elle, and they have no reason to vote off Eva here. So they will actually vote off Harold, since he is the least connected in this episode. And while they could target Duncan, they would value Duncan as a powerful player at this point, and Harold hasn't really done anything throughout these few episodes. However, it's possible that they could go for Courtney, but I think they go for Harold. Episode 4 is Dodgeball, and Eva and Duncan win the challenge with Elle losing. Noah still gets eliminated since Elle wouldn't care for Noah, as this is not Island Noah, this is Island Noah. And Noah, he'd actually see Noah as someone who's a threat as well. He'd overhear the alliance between Heather, Lindsay, and Beth. In episode 5 is where the talent show happens, and Elle would not compete, but the rest of the episode plays the same. With Harold not being here, Killer Bass loses the challenge. However, Heather has a target on her back, and Elle will see this as a good opportunity to get her out. Ultimately, in episode 5, Killer Bass lose, and they will vote for Bridget since she did the worst in the challenge. Courtney would also want to get Bridget out since she was annoyed with her. In episode 6 is the Sucky Outdoors, and unfortunately for Killer Bass, I can't say the same for Katie and Sadie getting lost. Justin will not be up a tree, so Justin will use his looks. Heather will realize Justin needs to go out soon, and so would Elle, and ultimately they win the challenge. Katie still gets sent home. In episode 7 is Phobia Factor, and Duncan and DJ pass, with Eva passing her worm fear. Sadie passes with Jeff, Tyler, and Courtney failing. Elle's fear would be not solving a supernatural case, and he would fail. Lindsay and Beth will actually pass, with Cody failing. Gwen would pass, Izzy and Owen pass, Justin's looking ugly and he would fail, Shauna passes, Trent would actually pass, Heather passes, and Gophers win the challenge. They still target Tyler for some reason. In episode 8 is Up the Creek, and to be honest, the pairs would be like this. It would be Jeff and DJ, Courtney and Duncan, which leaves Eva and Sadie. However, on Gophers, it would be Gwen and Cody, Trent and Lindsay and Beth, Izzy and Owen, Izzy, Lashana, Heather, Owen, which leaves Justin and Elle. Elle wouldn't actually see much in Justin, however, he would actually ask Justin for an alliance and asks why should he, and he points out the logic of the situation, how Heather's going to plan to vote him off, and he makes a deal saying he'll take him to the final 3. Justin would accept, knowing full well that he needs allies. Harold isn't here to accidentally burn the ore so the Killer Bass doesn't get their fire lit back, and ultimately Izzy wouldn't give them an idea to push back the boats. I think this is pretty close, however, I give the winner to the Gophers, since without Izzy, the Killer Bass would lose. Not that this matters anyways, since Izzy took his chase down with the CRM. Elle could stop it, but he probably wouldn't care enough, since he would know Izzy's a threat, so he'd want to take her out. In episode 9 is Paintball Deer Hunter. Now, Beth will still rebel against the Alliance, and Heather will steal the idol, and will start to rebel against the Alliance. Elle will not get involved, as this is important that he actually stays out of this conversation, as well as Justin. To be brutally honest, I feel like Owen will actually be friends with Elle and get along with him pretty well. Cody still gets mauled by a bear, and he gets medically evacuated and removed from the game. In episode 10, we have the cooking challenge, and Heather would still be locked in the freezer with Owen eating the ribs. Beth reveals the cursed statue, and she gets voted off. In episode 11 is Who You Can Trust, and it's Heather and Gwen, DJ and Duncan. It's now Eva and Jeff, Trent and Lindsay, with Trent being sent to the infirmary. By Million Tell is with Elle and Owen, Courtney and Sadie. I'd still give the win to Elle and Owen, so I think Elle would do better than Courtney. Then the blind trapeze, it would be Justin and Lindsay with Eva and Sadie. Ultimately, Justin gets sent to the infirmary. In this episode, it would be Gwen, And Heather and DJ still lifts up his bunny mask, so he still win. The Killer Bass still lose the challenge. Ultimately, everyone targets Sadie here. In episode 12 is basic straining, and Elle would actually do pretty well in this challenge. The first part would actually be the dancing Lindsay still tags out. The 300-word essay, Elle could easily pass that. However, it would get to the final round. I'm going to say Elle could definitely do the obstacle course, but would ultimately fail in the final round. Eva still wins the challenge for her, would win the challenge for Killer Bass, meaning Gopher's got elimination. Now, this is where Heather still can convince Lindsay and Owen. However, Elle would actually decide to counter by getting Trent, Gwen, Justin, and himself to vote for Heather. So I think Heather gets eliminated in this episode since Elle would know she's a massive threat and somebody needs to get taken care of now before it's too late. In episode 13, we have Extreme Torture, and it's Trent and DJ with DJ trying out Trent like in canon. It will be Eva and Justin with Justin who looks to win the challenge. Lindsay and Duncan will drive, and it'll be Jeff or Courtney. I'm going to say it's Jeff here and Elle. Ultimately, Killer Bass will win, which means Gopher's got elimination. However, Gwen and LaShawna would have their three-person alliance, and Elle would actually consider whether or not to save Justin in this version since he has an alliance with him. He'd be able to convince Owen with Food and Lindsay to vote out LaShawna since she's the biggest threat that's not immune. And LaShawna is going to be a huge challenge threat when they merge, and so they might as well get rid of LaShawna. Elle would have a confessional being annoyed at this emotional mistake to get rid of LaShawna since Justin is a huge threat, but he only really has Lindsay as an ally, so he's not too worried. In episode 14 is Guys vs. Girls. So in the eating challenge with Owen, clearly here the guys win the challenge and they got elimination. Now Courtney would actually vote for Eva, and I think Gwen Lindsay also vote for Eva since she's the biggest threat that's not immune. Although this would be a risk for Courtney, she'd actually not want to face Eva in the merge, so they get rid of her. So now we're at the merge, and so the people that return is Izzy, and now it'll be Noah since he will cause drama in this timeline and will be the new Eva. Now the reason I brought Noah is Eva just got eliminated in Heather in episode 12, so it makes no sense for Heather to return. So I'm going to bring back Noah. Elle would actually not be happy to see Noah return, however, he'd actually be pretty excited to have a challenge. In the No Pain No Game challenge, Courtney will now win immunity since she can handle the pain the best, and so she wins the challenge. Elle will do decent, but I don't think he'd really try to win. Now, to be honest, Noah will actually get one to target Justin in this episode, with Elle also agreeing since Justin is a huge threat later on, since he has 3 votes. Duncan has his little group, and it's Gwen and Trent. However, he will, with Courtney being a part of the Guys Alliance, will agree to actually vote off Justin here, so Justin actually remains eliminated in this episode. In episode 16 is where they have to get the key, and Courtney will gain immunity since she's closest to villain. Now, to be honest, here in this episode, Elle would get his key, and here Duncan would actually make a form a Killer Bass Alliance instead of the Guys Alliance. However, Elle would actually get one target. He'd actually get Owen, Lindsay, and Gwen, and Noah to target Izzy since she's just an easy vote, and everyone kind of agrees with that, since she's the only person that's returned that is still here. Now, in episode 17 is where we have the hide and seek challenge. To be honest, Elle could easily win the challenge the same way LaShawna did, if not even easier. DJ's on the roof and Noah will call him out, winning immunity. To be honest, Elle and Noah would agree to work together to get rid of Courtney since she's won most of the challenges. Duncan, Courtney, Jeff, and DJ will actually vote for Trent, with Owen and Lindsay agreeing to vote for Courtney. In episode 18 is the bike race, and to be honest, everybody makes a bike in this episode. Noah and Owen start bonding and becoming friends here. DJ and Jeff wipe out, with, of course, everybody else qualifying for the second round. Duncan and Owen still wipe out, with Elle purposely wiping out to crash out in the challenge. Gwen wipes out as well, and between Trent, Lindsay, and Noah, I think Noah gets eliminated since Lindsay's the only one that crossed because she was really good and would have won had Heather not tricked her, and Trent's really good at making bikes, and so really fun, unfair ruling. Noah is eliminated in this episode. In episode 19, Seymour and Elle would actually solve the killer case pretty well. Duncan and Gwen, Trent, and Duncan, Elle would win immunity, and DJ still gets the worst death. In episode 20, it's the Animal Buddies challenge. To be brutally honest, nobody wins the challenge here, and Gwen still gets a feast. Elle and Duncan would agree to work together to get rid of Gwen and Trent since they're a couple in the game. However, they think it's a popularity contest at this point. However, Elle would actually get everyone to vote for Gwen instead of Trent, since Gwen's a bigger challenge threat over Trent, and Elle says that Trent doesn't handle pain very well, and so he'd be an easier opponent to beat in the finale. Everyone targets Gwen. In episode 21 is Trial by Triathlon, and there's Jeff and Trent, Duncan and Elle, which leaves Owen and Lindsay. The Eating Challenge is Owen and Lindsay, the Race to Boney Island is Jeff and Trent, Remember the Shore is Duncan and Elle, Nobody Against Immunity. Everyone targets Jeff like normal. Episode 22, everyone now says Lindsay's name since Katie and Sadie both like Lindsay, since Sadie bonded with Lindsay. In episode, we'll say Owen because he's the party animal. Episode 23 is a non-elimination round. In episode 24, we have Are We the Yeti? So it's Killer Bass versus Gophers. And to be honest, I'm going to say it's Trent and Duncan against Elle and Lindsay. Elle and Lindsay easily win the challenge here since Elle get back much faster on top of the fact he has better navigational skills. Chef will still choose to get rid of Duncan. In episode 25 is where we have the No Pain No Gain challenge, and Elle easily wins the challenge. Between Lindsay and Trent doesn't handle pain very well, however it would come down to shaving their hair off, which Lindsay will refuse, and so she ultimately gets eliminated. In episode 26 is the finale between Elle and Trent. Some people would support Trent and some people would support Elle. Duncan will support Elle and ultimately they race to the finish line with Elle tricking Trent at the end, winning Total Drama Island. And that is it for this video, and thank you guys for watching. This is the Elimination Shore and how Elle could win the season. And I hope you guys enjoyed the timeline, and the next video will actually come out soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, peace and farewell.